Good morning. Good morning. The date is January 7, 2022. It's a Friday. Welcome to the program agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, thanking you for being subscribers of Cignal TV and being viewers of One News PH on channels 8 and 250. You can also watch us via facebook.com/OneNewsPH, on YouTube, and by downloading the Cignal Play app. Thank you very much to PLDT for their home fiber optic internet service. Thank you, Mr. Carlo, Marco Borlongan. Sorry, I'm getting my names confused. People are beginning to notice that. Cito, you're mixing up the names and dates. Sorry, it's a transition from 2021 to 2022. Anyway, thank you to PLDT for your support. And today we begin the day with our selected daily starter. Let's go to our daily starter, and it comes from the book of Psalms, chapter 30, verse 5. For his anger is but for a moment, his favor is for a lifetime. Weeping may stay for the night, but joy comes in the morning. For all of you who are struggling, who are worried, anxious about what's going on with all of this COVID-19 infections, just take comfort in the fact that this too shall pass and that we can trust God to be there for us, and perhaps, also reflect on our lifestyle, because there are people who are saying perhaps all of this is also the wrath of God. It is not a bad thing to consider, because these things do happen, and I do hope that all of you will find comfort in the word of the Lord. Okay, let's move forward to the front page of the Philippine Star. Today, January 7, 2022. It's a Friday, and the front page, the headline, Omicron spreads. Department of Health confirms more cases. The Department of Health and the Philippine Genome Center tested 48 samples, and of 48 samples, they found 29 29 Omicron variants of the 48, and 10 of them were from returning overseas Filipinos, and 19 of them were from residents of the National Capital Region or Metro Manila. In other words, it's here, it's in the NCR. We can't do anything about that except to strictly observe health protocols. In the upper portion of the Philippine Star front page, the Commission on Election has narrowed down the number of presidential bets to 11. You can read the details if you go to the Philippine Star online page. And on the left side of the header, Novak Djokovic, or Joko, fights deportation. Tennis star Novak Djokovic was detained at an Australian airport and his health documents were challenged, and he has been detained for the last 2 days. He has taken the matter to an Australian court. Meanwhile, the people running the Grammy Awards for 2022 have announced that they are postponing the event indefinitely or for a better time amidst the Omicron surge in the United States. On the right side of the header, we have the current tally of Philippine cases, active cases, 56,561. Confirmed new cases as of January 6 yesterday, 17,220, and the number of deaths at 81. Meanwhile, the Philippine National Police has announced that they will be asking and inspecting vaccination cards of travelers entering Metro Manila and Bulacan Province. That center photo in the front page of the Philippine Star is a photo of a security guard putting up signs yesterday outside the Pasay City General Hospital, which has stopped accepting all patients after reaching full capacity. Okay, so ayan po, no, medyo dumadami na ang mga kaso. Meanwhile, the DILG has declared or stated that they lack funds for contact tracers. Naubos na raw po yung kanilang pera. Only 250 million pesos has been allotted for contact tracing efforts in the 2022 budget. And this may not keep up with the surge of COVID-19 cases. So they're a bit worried about that. That photo of that vendor, calamansi vendor, is at the NEPA Q-Mart. And apparently there has also been a high demand for calamansi products or citrus products as a natural alternative due to the lack of medicines at the pharmacies. Okay. Meanwhile, the city of Makati has closed down Berjaya Hotel. Okay, if you're not aware of that story, Berjaya Hotel is the quarantine hotel that had accepted and take the Poblacion girl, Miss Chua, who was skipped quarantine. And as a result, the DOT removed the accreditation of Berjaya Hotel. And as a domino effect, the city of Makati has decided to issue them a closure order via the withdrawal of the mayor's business permit. Last but not the least, bottom end of the Philippine Star, President Duterte has signed several new laws. First is reducing the required paid-up capital for foreign retailers as part of the amended Retail Trade Liberalization Act of 2000, and it was signed into law last December 10. In addition to that, the president also signed a law that would give funding or cash assistance directly to farmers who have rice lands of below 2 hectares. The photo in the bottom end is a photo at the Divisoria in Manila, where essential workers, including night market, vendors, and truck drivers, all lined up to get their booster shot. So that's it. Those are the stories on the front page of the Philippine Star. Now let's go to our first guest for the morning. He's a regular here on Agenda, Presidential Advisor Joey Concepcion. Good morning, Joey.
Good morning, Cito.
Okay, you hosted a town hall meeting recently. I just wanted to follow up on that because you said there were good results. And then also you've been quoted as advising policymakers and officials to be careful about how they react to COVID-19 or this level 3 lockdowns, and to follow hospital capacities and levels of vaccination. Could you clarify those points for us, please?
First, on the town hall, we have this basically once or twice every month, so the timing was perfect. It was well attended, close to 600 companies attended. Nobody left the meeting until the end. That's to show you the high level of interest of the private sector to determine what's going to happen with both Delta and Omicron in the country right now. I asked Secretary Duque at that point in time whether we had community spread of Omicron, and he said most probably. I think we really have to try to really pinpoint, what are the causes of the current upsurge. And I see that Octa seems to be a bit faster in really giving out the information, and DOH, with due respect, I think they have to move faster and try to inform the public of the real situation. And definitely Omicron is in the country now, and we are seeing a surge of infection. In fact, a lot of families are affected. and I was sharing with them that in the town hall, it's because of greater mobility. Remember last year, August 8th, we pushed for the early lockdown to save the fourth quarter. We indeed saved the fourth quarter last year. We had a great Christmas. We had super mobility. Of course, a lot of people went out. Cases started to peak towards the end of December. And the New Year gathering, I think, is probably what brought out all of this more infection, because every family started to celebrate New Year, seeing that the infections have gone down. So moving forward in this first quarter, what will the private sector do? Both Okta and share their views on how to approach this. I think nothing really changes. The playbook is still the same. We have 100 million vaccines, as reported by Secretary Galvez, right now in the country. So we have the arsenal to be able to combat both Delta and Omicron. Secretary Duque has said the same thing. We are much better prepared now. The issue here is hospital capacity. At this point in time, it is still manageable, moderate, according to Okta, but creeping up. So the ultimate thing here is that we still have a lot of people unvaccinated. And for us to really move this pandemic to an endemic, and both Father Nick and Secretary Duque feel that there is a good chance that it can happen sometime this year, that Omicron takes us to that endemic mode, all depends on what we really do. We must really protect the unvaccinated. You know, Cito, since last year, I've been saying that it's about time we really restrict the movement of the unvaccinated,
Yes.
because they are the ones that are most vulnerable at this point in time and will cause the hospitals to be full. So I was telling Secretary Duque, if we look at the number of people getting infected every day, and it's now up to what? 8,000, 10,000, pretty soon it will hit 20,000. If most of them are vaccinated, then most of them will just stay home and get well. But assuming 20% of them remain unvaccinated, that's a huge number. That's 20 million. Those are the ones that if they get sick, then the hospitals will not be able to take 20 million people. So I'm glad that MMDA has really now pushed for lesser mobility of the unvaccinated. And I think if we can replicate that all over the country, that to restrict the movement, not to deprive them of the liberty of movement, but because to protect them from getting sick. Because Omicron is just so contagious that, for example, in our office, it's swarming with a lot of people who just got infected. But the best thing here is most of them are mild. In that sense, it's also dangerous because many of them are so asymptomatic. You won't know that they're sick. Whether vaccinated or unvaccinated, we can infect each other. But what protects us, those who took the vaccines, is that they will be able to just get well at home. And if we are able to do that, then this will be like an ordinary flu or an influenza. And that's the objective. And then we will not flood these hospitals with patients.
Okay, now, why does there seem to be a hesitation, or is there any reason, did Secretary Duque confide to you why they haven't really officially stated, okay, guys, it's Omicron that's now taken the lead in the charge? Because here's this problem, Joey, and I think you can appreciate this. Some people have all sorts of ideas about Omicron. Some are even saying, oh, magpapahawa na ako if that's going to be my natural booster. Some people are saying, oh, it's all right if you get it because Omicron is mild. And some people are saying, well, I'll just sit it out and see whether I have Omicron or Delta. So there's all of these ifs and buts and maybes, and it leads to a scary situation. Why does there seem to be a hesitation or delay in declaring what we're really facing?
I think they want to be, in a sense, very careful. But in the end, I think like the Genome Center you just reported, no, Omicron now is apparently overtaking Delta. And Father Nick said that very clearly in our meeting. that Omicron definitely will overtake Delta. It has done that in the rest of the country. So if we follow the same playbook, I guess maybe Secretary Duque and DOH just wants to be on the safe side until it's officially there. I think the Genome Center has said it now. So in fairness, he said he believes it's here, and let's just assume it's here, that community transmission. I think the approach towards Omicron is, okay, let's get sick. No, I think that's the wrong way to do it. We should prevent ourselves from getting sick. For those who are vaccinated, they are better protected than the unvaccinated. But I don't think we should have that mental thinking that, okay, it's going to be easier for me, let me get sick. No, because there is still a risk, even of the vaccinated, that you can still land in the hospital. It's not 100%, but it is a huge percent that you won't. So I think it's just the approach. But nevertheless, both Secretary Duque and the private sector, we all agree on the same roadmap. No, nothing has changed. We have to vax to the max. With those who have not taken their 2 doses, we have to give those boosters now. We have called on the private sector. Let's launch the boosters to our employees. So we're doing it like now. Our company has a date discount. Today, they're vaccinating for boosters, and more will start implementing that because this was only approved sometime during the December period. So we're rolling it out now. And hopefully that gives us better protection, especially for those whose earlier doses are waiting.
Okay, now there seems to be a growing agreement or support for restricting the movement of the unvaccinated. Now, the question is, the recent announcements of the IATF, the MMDA, and some mayors outside of Metro Manila seems to be leaning towards ECQ or quarantine measures and lockdowns. And I wrote about it in my column in the Philippine Star today, where I'm saying, so what is the point of all of these vaccination programs, of all of these vax cards, if people aren't going to recognize the vax cards when people travel? And now we're going to lock down the seniors, the 18 and below, etc. Because, it's like all the work is beginning to start turning out to be pointless if we're all going to be under lockdown anyway.
I checked with some of the IATF members. At this point in time, there is no move towards ECQ. We are towards at alert level 3. There's talks about alert level 4. I was sharing with the group and Secretary Duque that mobility in the first quarter drops big time because everybody has wiped out their savings to buy Christmas gifts and celebrate Christmas, which everybody has to do that. We have to live a normal life. No, I mean, in America, cases are going up and they have not locked down. I'm not saying we go to that extreme. I'm just saying that let us look at also managing the economy. No, I don't think the private sector, the MSMEs, and the LGUs, the public sector can afford lockdowns. We are borrowing trillions of pesos. Our debt to GDP is growing, and if we surpass 60%, then it's going to hurt us big time. No, so we have to open the economy and leave it open, but we should do it carefully, and that's why the move of many of the LGUs, especially Chairman Benar Abalos, to really restrict the movement of the unvaccinated is the right step. And that's what we called since last year, because they are the ones that will overwhelm the hospitals. And when the hospitals are full, then there's no choice but to lock down.
But Joey, what about the move to restrict the movement of the vaccinated, even the boosted? Because that's been announced several times over the news that, people below 18 or people above 65 can't go out. So even if they're fully vaccinated.
I don't quite agree with that, because those 12 to 18 who are fully vaccinated should be allowed to go out. I mean, of course, we have closed down the bars and all the other amusement parks. No? So that will prevent them from going to these places, and they have to wear the face mask. And of course, those who are 65, I mean, I'm still 63, so I don't fall in that category. You're close to it.
I'm in it. No,
Yeah,
thanks
it
to
is.
you.
So I don't believe that we should lock them down because they're fully vaccinated already and
Mm.
protected. And especially if they're boosted, they should be allowed to go out and they should be careful. And aside from mobility going down in the first quarter, let's think about this. With all the cases out there, everybody is not going to go out. We don't need to tell them, stay home. Right now, we're all at home because uh, everybody's just getting infected. It's just so contagious at this point in time that it's a risk to go out. So you're going to see these streets in Metro Manila go down. And we're seeing that right now. Mobility is really dropping.
Yeah, what about for business? Because that was my other concern. I said, okay, if all of these things happen, how is the business sector going to deal with it? You had a great last quarter. You managed to, make up for so much losses. But what about the first quarter of 2022?
So, Cito, the foresight of the private sector and with the support of Sec Charlie Galvez to support the early lockdown really saved the fourth quarter. Can you imagine this happening in the fourth quarter last year? So we prevented that. So it was pushed towards the first quarter this year. So mobility will drop. Businesses, of course, are also slowing down, but they have enough earnings to take them through the first part of 2022. The point being is that if we are continuing to remain at alert level 3, it just matches the level of mobility. So businesses will be fine, even if they're operating at 30, 40%, there's still some cash flow in there, for them. So we should allow that to move. We should not restrict and move towards what we call a very hard lockdown. But the promise of the IATF is to focus on granularized lockdown, which they are doing. Now, restricting movement from not allowing people who are unvaccinated to come to NCR is a good idea. So to me, we can do that in respective areas. Show your vax cards before you enter an LGU. Because you have to, if that is the rule that you have to be vaccinated to enter, let's say, Baguio, that should be fine. Now, for the unvaccinated, I'm appealing to them to take the vaccine, take the booster shot. That is the only thing that we are asking every citizen here. That we are in a pandemic of the biggest that we've ever seen. So, maawa naman kayo if whatever religious beliefs that you are following, reconsider that because the nation is facing a very tough challenge and we need to be one in this effort because if we don't, simple solution is vaccinate, and that is the only way that we can allow what we call save both lives and livelihoods.
Okay, so as far as the blocking of the unvaccinated in business establishments and premises, what is the position of the group of businessmen that's behind you? Because there was a call for, I think it was Chairman Abalos who appealed to the business owners kung pwede kayo na mismo ang pumara. So the burden is being passed or being shared with the private sector. What's the response of private sector to police the unvaccinated?
Well, we have done that since, earlier on. What was agreed is that unvaccinated will not be allowed to dine in indoor restaurants and spas and salons. So only vaccinated are at this point in time being allowed. So my appeal to the entrepreneurs is ensure, please look at their vaccine cards now. With regards to the private sector on-site workers, we defer that. The rule there with IATF is that employees who are not vaccinated will have to take a mandatory RT-PCR test every 2 weeks. We will be implementing that this year, starting this month. But in fairness, the private sector, we're at about 90 to 100% fully vaccinated employees. So our concern is just the 10%. So this will be implemented, and I guess it will motivate the vaccinated employees to take the vaccine.
Joey, you've always been the champion for radical. Well, they're not radical; they're just smart solutions like the pool for testing, saliva testing, etc., etc. There is a call that the government should really push down the price for RT-PCR tests because antigen testing really picked up, but it's now beginning to run short on supply. And even the DOH indicated that it's a good solution, but it's not a perfect solution because there are a lot of false positive and people aren't really that well equipped or trained to do self-testing. What about calling the government to push down the price of RT-PCR tests?
Well, the challenge really right now is the capacities of all the labs. Go negotiate through the private sector. We supported about 20 labs. So they're all at full capacity at this point in time. So many people are taking PCR tests. Antigen, to me, is quite effective because I've used it. Our household has been affected. And what we do is we antigen them daily and isolate them immediately. You can't do that with an RT-PCR because at this point in time, there's just a lot of people making pila. So antigen works well. And if you want, you can test them daily. There is still supply. Our Go Negosyo has the list of all those antigen suppliers. So there is still supply out there. The prices have come down a bit. So the way forward, and even if you look at all the US data coming out, antigen is, to me, the most practical because it's immediate response and isolate. So in our office, we antigen them, and then as they come in positive, they're isolated right away. For RT-PCR, it will take time.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Joey, and more power to you. And I hope that we will all cooperate and resolve this issue. Thank you for your time this morning. God bless you.
Thank you, Cito.
Okay, that's Presidential Advisor on Entrepreneurship and the main man pushing, the man who's been pushing for a lot of solutions between private sector and the government, Joey Concepcion. We'll go for a quick break, and when we return, we now go on relax mode because our next subject matter won't be as scary, as serious, and very interesting if you want to see the latest brand, the latest model of motorcycles that even ordinary guys like you and me, okay, nakikimi na ako, bagamat hindi naman ako marunong, is affordable, but it is a lineup of motorcycles. I think it's from the UK. We will be speaking with our next guest, Carlo Panizal, Head of Operations of Mutt, M-U-T-T Motorcycles. We'll go for a quick break. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Welcome back to the program Agenda. Thank you for joining us this morning. And right now, we are going to shift gears from a very serious topic. We now go to fun topic, and we are going to speak with a former hotelier, nasa hotel industry, but decided that he wanted to go into the motorcycle industry. Okay, let's bring in Carlo Panizal, Head of Operations of Mutt Motorcycles Philippines. Carlo, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Cito.
Okay. Okay, thank you for joining us and making time this morning. I decided to invite you to the show because when I had the chance to visit your showroom in Clark,
Yeah.
I posted pictures on my Facebook and I had an unexpected stream of response from people asking, anong model yan? Ba't ang daming model? Magkano yan? Affordable? Where can we go? Sabi ko, teka. Let's just put them on agenda and let's find out, okay, big starters, Mutt motorcycles. Alam mo yung MUTT, colloquial for askal, di ba?
Yes,
Sa mga Westerners, pag sinabing Mutt, asong kalye. Why would someone even think of a name for beautiful motorcycles and call them Mutts?
Well, some of the variants kasi ng Mutt motorcycles, they named it after a breed of dogs, no? So they have mongrel, merong mastiff, may Akita. So doon nang galing yung mga variants natin. So, so just to give you a brief background lang, no, for all the listeners and the viewers. Mutt motorcycle originated in Birmingham, UK. Tama yung binanggit mo, no? The founders are actually custom builders. They create or modify motorcycles pero higher displacement bikes. So mga mamahaling motor at mga exotic bikes ang ginagawa nila. And one day they found themselves na makapag-usap na why don't we come up with their own brand na medyo mas affordable, mas abot kaya ng masa sa kanila in UK pa lang, no? So they thought of partnering with one of the Japanese big four to come up or to use yung isa sa mga engines na ginagamit nila. So they used a Japanese engine and put it in their design, no? So their DNA of building and customizing bikes, sinama nila dito sa ating Japanese engine. Now they come up with Mutt motorcycles. And ang kagandahan nito, even though na 2013 actually nag-start yung Mutt motorcycle, very, very young in the motorcycle industry. But they are already in 15 countries globally, no? Actually, pang 16 nga yata tayo eh. And all over the world, we have already about over 100 dealership. So here in Asia, ang mga kapitbahay natin na maganda na ang Mutt motorcycle community would be Japan, Korea, and Singapore.
Okay, now I was looking at the picture and listening to you talk about the products. Now, so it has a lineage, kumbaga yung mga kanyang mga ninuno. Okay, the lineage is Japanese as far as the engine is concerned.
Yes.
And the styling is I wouldn't even call it British kasi parang very informal, very pangkalye, bagets, whatever. Brusco nga yung ibang mga model na nakita ko. Now, why enter the Philippine market? Kasi may mga magsasabi, pinasok na ng China itong Pilipinas, mahihirapan kayong mag-compete. Price-wise, the looks, as far as the looks are concerned, the models look great, and I've sat on a few of them. But in terms of competing with the with what's in the local market, how confident do you feel that Mutt motorcycles will break through?
Well, number one, magkakaroon tayo talaga ng followers, no? Or magkakaroon talaga tayo ng riders na who is really built for that type of motorcycles. Meaning, yung mahilig sa custom-looking bikes, vintage or classic bikes. And ang isa sa pinakamaganda sa dinala namin na motorsiklo dito sa Philippines is instead of you purchasing a base bike, no, para sa mga mahilig mag-custom, you get a base bike for about maybe 80, 100,000. Then you bring it to one of your customizing shop, no? It'll take you about maybe 3 months, maybe more, and you will spend at least another 100,000, maybe more. But with Mutt motorcycles, we are bringing in 10 different variants here in the Philippines. So you will just choose what type of motorcycle, yung characteristic or personality ng design na meron yung 10 na variant na dinala namin dito. So hindi ka na kailangan mag-antay, hindi mo na kailangan gumastos ng malaki. At pangatlo, hindi mabovoid yung warranty mo kasi wala ka namang chinap-chop eh. Kasi right off the
Mm.
showroom, it is already customized or custom looking.
Mhm. Okay, and in terms of prices, well, before we even talk price, okay, kasi you mentioned something about displacement.
Yes.
I know you have 125
Yeah,
and 250.
250, yes.
Yun lang ang range ninyo, no? 125 and 250.
Yes, yes. Mutt Motorcycle really focuses on small CC displacement bikes, no? Again, the global positioning niya is to provide motorcycles na it's standard looking bikes. So it doesn't look small even though it has a small engines, no?
Yeah, I will be the first one to say that kasi alam niyo po mga kaibigan, sinakyan ko dalawa niyan, yung Akita I think. And then ano ba yung sinasabi kong parang classic, para siyang Honda, para siyang BMW, yung
matangkad ba?
Yung matangkad.
Oh, that would be the Razorback.
Hindi. Yung Razorback is actually your off-road motocross. But the one na mukhang pang-pulis, yung pang-hagad ba?
I think what you're saying is the one, the elegant looking, the GTSS.
GTSS.
Yes,
yun yung top of the line ninyo, no? Okay, no, I rode them and I was surprised kasi they did not feel like they were 125 or 250cc. They felt like big bikes. At the very least, they felt like they were about 350cc or 400. Kaya sabi ko, uy, okay to, cross-purpose. And then sabi sa akin nung kasama natin, kuya, hindi yan pang highway, pang village yan, pang barangay, etc. So they look great. The modeling is great. You made the good point that the advantage to this kind of modified look is you don't void the warranty. Hindi mo na kailangan pakialaman. And bakit 125 and 250 lang?
Yeah, the 125 and 250, number one, is very, very economical, no? It has sufficient amount of power to get you in and out of traffic. Very, very flickable siya. And of course, this is the type of bike that you would love to go on a coffee ride. No, urban riding tayo, no? So tambike lang in the cities, no? Of course, you can always go outside of Metro Manila, kung sakaling you're from here, or travel more than 100 kilometers. Like I said, it's very economical. It has a 17-liter tank, no? So sobrang taas ng range ng milyahe nito. And again, I'll go back, no? These type of motorcycles is really for someone who is into classic, vintage, or retro-looking bikes, no, with custom feel. And the bikes, again, it can still get you to more than 100 kilometers per hour, no? And it will bring you back to the nostalgia of the 60s or probably 70s, no? Yung old school type of riding. It doesn't have all the riding aids na meron tayo with the technology, no? So talagang like the basic or back to the basic type of bike siya. Of course, it's FI, it has ABS, it has a digital, malita digital gauge where you can see your odometer, no? But other than that, talagang built and designed as an old school type of motorcycle. Even the ergonomics is old school.
I was surprised that they all, I hope I'm not mistaken, but I got the impression when I visited that they all had electric start. Parang standard na ba yan? Kasi parang alam mo, nung panahon namin, 70s, 80s, lalaki yung muscle mo, kakasipa, lalo na kung palyado. When we went there, puro electric starter. So electric starter, standard na.
Yeah. All is FI, electric start, and with ABS yung mga 250 natin, and the 125 since it's has an ample amount of power, naka-ano lang siya, naka-combined braking system siya.
Okay, now how does one, kasi grabe naman 10 yung pagpipilian. That's why I walked away from the showroom, ladies and gentlemen. I walked out of the showroom because I was dizzy. I couldn't, they all look great. But how does one go about, you've been a biker since you were in college, correct?
Yes.
Now, for those who are dreaming, hoping, or even for the elderly like me, kasi kung 125 lang at 250 at pang village lang, medyo okay na yan, ano? Maganda na yan. How does one go about choosing which model of the Mutt lineup to pick?
Okay. Now, when you visited the showroom natin sa Clark, no, we only have the 6 different variants there with some other variant doon, magkaiba yung kulay. Kung medyo sumakit na yung ulo mo doon, what more kung dumating na yung 10 different variants with different color variations, no? But one thing, again, isa sa mga challenge nga ito ng mga tumitingin na nagtatanong sa amin, ano? Nahihirapan sila pumili. But that is a good problem, no? What you need to do is, sit on the saddle, get a feel of the bike, probably take pictures, and see for yourself kung ano talaga yung bagay sa'yo. Kasi papasok yung, of course, when you have a motorcycle, it really depends on the personality or characteristics mo eh.
Carlo, delikado yung suggestion mo na yan. Kasi baka mangyari sa atin, forma before function. Kasi ang daming ganyan pa-picture, tapos bibili. Yung pala, hindi bagay sa kanila, sa lifestyle nila. So, sit on the bike if it's comfortable, if you feel that you can. But what about for beginners? I mean, real beginners who've never been on a bike, wants to get a bike, kasi may mga ganyan, yung mga bagong graduate, o yung mga nag-ipon. In fact, I mentioned to Romel Sitin, who's the distributor.
Yes.
I said, Romel, ito yung mga bikes na aambisyonin ng OFW na puts them on a higher class. Kumbaga, hindi ka naka-motorsiklong pang tricycle, may forma yung motor mo, but it's affordable. I mean, my friends who are big bikers, they said, you know what, Kuya, that's one guy said I would consider that because it's a good alternative for just running around, kasi yung big bikes daw nila parang pang highway talaga, and in the city it becomes impractical.
Yeah, a good thing that you mentioned regarding a beginner motorcyclist, no?
Yeah.
Itong mga new riders natin, maganda rin para sa kanila itong 125cc natin, no? Of course, it's very, very friendly. The power is just enough for them. Makapag-practice sila. And with the design of the bikes, no, matagal mo pagsasawaan itong motor na to eh. Parang it's also a good motorcycle to keep in your garage. Probably it's gonna be one of your collection, no? Pwede mong isama to sa mga collection mo. Number 2 point na isa sa mga posibleng kukuha nito would be isa sa mga na-mention mo, yung mga may-ari na ng mga high-powered motorcycle, yung may mga liter bikes na. Kasi, of course, you won't use a super bike inside the city na medyo matatraffic ka ng konti, napakainit ng makina noon. So, you want something na medyo madali i-handle, no? At the same time, very economical siya. Hindi ka masunog gasolina mo pag naipit sa traffic, no? And isa pang dadagdag ko, even for lady riders, kasi dumadami ating mga lady riders, maganda rin to kasi yung mga variants natin, the 9 different variants has only 770 na millimeter height. So kahit paano, Pinoy-friendly siya. Only one variant natin, yung Razorback, would be the tallest one. It has an 830mm height.
Yeah.
Pero the rest, 9. So kaya-kaya ito ng mga Pinoy riders natin.
Yung Razorback po, mga kaibigan, yun yung panahon namin, tawag namin scrambler or dirt bike. Kung medyo kayo kasama sa barangay 411, medyo kailangan may bangko kayong tutungtungan pag sumasakay kayo dahil mataas siya. Pero, I mean, I won't knock the bikers because I know some bikers who are on the short end of heights that are probably some of the best riders in the country. Now, going back to your product lines and the products, what's the range? Kasi sabi ko nga, di ba, merong 250, may 125, you have the GTS, you have the GTSS, you have the Akita, the Mongrel. Akala ko nagbibiro yung kaibigan ko nung sinabi, Kuya, Mongrel yan. Sabi ko, asar ka naman eh. Pinost ko na nga yung picture, pinintasan mo pa. Yung pala, yun talaga yung pangalan nung bike, Mongrel. Ano pa?
No, I think that what we were saying is the Fat Sabbath, the blackout, yung medyo stealth looking. I think that's yung mongrel kasi hindi pa dumating sa Pilipinas, that's the green one. Pero yung the one I think the one you're talking about, the black yung stealth natin. Yan, that's the Fat Sabbath. I think what you're talking
ano
about.
ang price range ng mga bikes na yan, Carlo? Kasi syempre, dyan na tayo magkakatalo. Pinopromote ko sa mga may kaya at sa mga OFW. Baka sabihin ko, Cito, nakakaasar ka naman. Pinatululaway mo lang kami.
Yeah, the price range, no, is between 185 to 270,000. So really, yes, it's very affordable.
Ladies and gentlemen, pasensya na po kung sinabi kong lang, hindi po yun lang dahil may kaya si Cito Beltran, I had to say only because bikes of a similar look, of course, bigger displacement. Yung mga big bikes, itong mga ka-Bible group ko, ako lang yung walang motor eh. Lahat sila naka 1,200cc, naka kung ano. Ang price range nila is 1.2 million na. Parang ang pang-asar ko nga, I tell them, kung bumili yata kayo ng motor 1,000 per cc, o ay 100 per cc, parang gano'n. Kasi parang 1.2 million yung mga big bikes. But your bike, the Mutt bikes are, ulitin mo nga, 180,000?
Yeah, it starts at 185,000. Yeah.
85. Okay, 185,000 up to
270.
So yung nagustuhan kong GTSS, yun yung 270?
No, it's only the 250cc noon is 250,000, and the 125cc is only 185,000.
Sandali, maghanap nga ako na mabebenta dito sa sala ko. Ano bang mga pwede ko ipagbili? Okay. So,
with that amount, Mr. Cito, you already have a British bike, in your garage, a very classic-looking one, a custom feel. At the same time, it has a Japanese standard. You get 2 years of warranty. And once you really, look at the bike, in person, the level of detail that the Brits really did for the bike, ang ganda talaga ng pagkakagawa nila. Napakalinis. Majority of the parts really are built and designed in UK Birmingham, no? So talagang mataas yung standards talaga nila sa pagkakagawa nito.
But my question, Carlo, is okay. I'm a non-biker. I did try once. Stupidly, I got a big bike that I was not equipped for. Ladies and gentlemen, yun po, no warning. I would not venture buying a motorcycle just yet until you have undertaken a rider training course. Meron po yung Honda Riding School. Kayo ba, Carlo, are you setting up a riding school para sa mga, alam mo na, yung mga nagpapantasyang katulad namin na gustong matutong paano talaga? Because, a friend of mine pointed out, Kuya, it's not as simple as just getting on that stupid thing and then turning the throttle. Yeah. You've got to know how to make the proper right turn, left turns, and circles. Para kang nag-aral ulit ng bisikleta, pero times 100 na yung bigat or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I think somewhere in the future we'll be able to do that, no? To do a Mutt, what do you call this?
Mutt Academy or
parang gano'n, no?
Pag sinabi mong Mutt Training School, baka may magdala ng mga aso dyan.
Magdala ng aso, Mutt motorcycle training, for beginners. I think we'll be able to do that in partnership with some of the association in the riding community that can help us out. I think that is a good plan for 2022, lalo na pagka medyo lumuwag yung ating mga restriction.
Okay, what about maintenance, parts, etc.? Because you have great looking motorcycles. They have good heritage, both British and Japanese, and they have great price range. Now, of course, after you bought it, now the worry starts to happen. Paano kung mabengkong ko yung rim? Paano kung masabit yung kickstarter, etc.? Parts, what assurance can you give would-be buyers of Mutt motorcycles?
Okay, yeah. So first thing, I'd like to mention again that it has a 2-year warranty, no? And for parts, and service, of course, our showrooms will have a maintenance or a service area. And for parts, we are under UAAGI, so definitely we have tons of parts already in our warehouse. Actually, if the viewers and listeners of this show can visit Mutt Motorcycle FB page, no? Very soon, we'll also be releasing yung aming warehouse where we keep the motorcycles, how we store it, even sa parts namin, how we built it from scratch bago i-activate at ipadala sa customers, even to show how is it serviced. So talagang we are gonna be transparent for you guys to see, how serious we are in bringing in these new motorcycles in the Philippines.
Okay, how complicated a machine are Mutt motorcycles? Because alam mo, pag nakita ko yung mga big bikes nitong mga kabible ko, parang dapat may kasama kang mekaniko all the time. Ito bang Mutt motorcycles, assuming na biglang dinala sa Batanes or dinala sa Sulu, is it serviceable by local mechanics? Kumbaga, papadala nyo lang yung parts?
Yeah, actually, the bikes, again, it's really a back to basic bike, no? It's a DIY bike. Kayang-kaya mong kumpunihin to sa garahe. So, just one good thing really, no? Kasi karamihan din ng riders or more in the yung mahilig magkumpuni, yung ikaw yung nasa garahe, gusto mo ikaw yung gagawa eh.
Oh, okay. Now, let me just go to another point. Okay, in terms of where to find the Mutts, para ako dog catcher eh.
Mutt motorcycles, huh?
Kasi the Mutt motorcycles, because I know you have a showroom in Clark, but I wasn't driving. So alam mo ako, pag ako pasahero, hindi ko na pinapansin yung ruta kung saan, how many showrooms do you have right now, or how can people get to see what arrangements are possible for people? Kasi may nag-email sa akin kahapon, may pa nga FB Messenger eh. Kuya, saan ba pwedeng i-test ride yan, etc. And these are serious bikers.
Yeah, so we already have one showroom na built and open in Clark. Easiest way to go there is after you exit South Clark toll gate, you turn right and makikita mo na siya. So after South Clark exit, turn right and you're already there. You can see it. So now that's the first showroom that we have here in the Philippines, no? Very, very soon, no? Maybe after a couple of weeks, hopefully, baka lang, fingers crossed, if everything goes well, end of January or by February, we're gonna have one in Balintawak, QC, one in Capital Commons in Pasig, and one in Pasay, in Mall of Asia. Now, I'm also talking with someone in Cubao, QC, and in Alabang, and we're also looking for a place already in San Juan. No? So those are the few locations that we are, planning to put up Mutt motorcycles. But the four that I mentioned na una, so Clark is already open. Number 2 in Pasig, in Estancia Mall. Number 3 is in Balintawak, in QC. And number 4 is in Mall of Asia. So those four, will be fully operational by sometime February.
Maglagay ka nga na isang sopa, isang solo chair doon sa estancia. Kasi ang lapit-lapit sa bahay ko, parang nananadya kayo, Carlo. Parang, come to me. Parang you are tempting me to no end. That's where we do our walking. And you're going to put a motorcycle outlet there. Kayo talaga. But that's being very aggressive because
yes,
you're targeting 4 and then shooting for 7. This is what this is not officially even your first year. Are you officially opened? Parang wala pa ako nakitang launch ng Mutt na yan.
We had a virtual launch last October 26, no? But we have yet to do our official or grand launching, no? But it's in the works, and we'll advise. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, no, medyo napupush back yung konting mga plano natin. But rest assured, na once we're able to do this, we're gonna put up those info in our socials, and everyone will be invited, regardless what bike you ride, no.
Oh.
No, we really welcome each and everyone. We want a good community of riders, regardless if you're using a classic, a sports bike, an adventure. So beginner or seasoned rider, everyone is welcome. In Estancia,
Yeah.
Mr. Cito, maganda gagawin natin doon. We're gonna have a real tambayan doon. We are able to come up with a big showroom there, and we're gonna have a coffee bar. So meron tayong talagang a place to where riders can park their cars in front of the Mutt showroom. They can have their coffee. Actually, we partnered with the Cafe Rista. So it's a popular coffee shop also where riders goes in Pasig. So yan, magkakaroon din sila ng outlet in Estancia. So yan, katabi lang namin siya. So yan, pwede mag-park yung mga motor ng mga riders natin at magkakape sa tabi ng motor nila sa alfresco.
Nako, delikado kayo sa ginagawa nyo nga. Baka dyan na kami mag-conduct ng aming weekly Bible study. Ayan. Pero it will bring grace and blessing to the outlet, I am sure. Now, a quick review. You said there are currently in the Philippines 7 models. What?
6 models.
Six models in the Philippines. Okay. Yeah, the Razorback, I already said, it's an off-road bike. It's a motocross kind of bike. Preferably for those who are slightly taller kasi talaga mataas ang kanyang ground clearance.
Yeah.
It's strictly for off-road yun talaga, yung sports bike yun.
Yeah.
Now, yung Akita mo.
Yeah, the Akita is more on the you're a little bit on the aggressive side of riding, no? Especially the 250 Akita, no? Medyo mas mas aggressive yung stance niya. Mas stiffer din yung suspension niya. So, kumbaga, you get in and out of the curves, no? Mga turns or twisties much faster. So, then the rest of the lineup, same base yung model niya, different color scheme and design. Minsan, ang pinagkakaiba lang niya, may bash plate, may headlight grills, no? So, minimal aesthetically, mga pinagkakaiba niya. And the difference lang would be the, the looks. Kung sakali mas gusto mo siyang rugged, medyo mas minimalist or mas elegant.
But the GTSS is I think it looks very different because you have the Black Sabbath 125, which is a sports parang street bike, sports bike, pang mga siga-siga ko, no.
Rugged yan, yes.
Rugged. Pero yung GTSS, it's like more of a gentleman rider.
Mas prim and proper siya. So the different variants of a Mutt motorcycle talaga, it will really depends on your personality or character, di ba? So like you mentioned, the Fat Sabbath, no? If regardless kung 125 or 250cc na Fat Sabbath ang kunin mo, I think bagay siya sa mga medyo may mga tattoo, medyo banda-banda, long hair. No?
Oo naman. Akala ko bagay sa aming mga nilalampaso yung mga gamit at kung saan-saan dumadaan dahil matibay. Sabi mo, may tattoo. Magpapatattoo pa ako. Anyway, Carlo, Carlo, we've run out of time, but thank you very much for your inputs this morning. It was fun. And, it just kind of gives us a break from all of this bad news and bad situation we're all in. We do hope that Mutt Motorcycles really takes off. And for our viewers, you can go to their website. You mentioned website. Pakibanggit na lang at hindi ako magaling dyan.
Yeah, it's muttmotorcycles.com.ph or simply visit our social media, no? Instagram, Facebook, no? Just type in Mutt Motorcycles Philippines. So once you get there, you'll see a lot of information about the bikes. You'll see our launch video where the founders also had a segment there. Makikita nyo kung paano nila sinimulan itong Mutt Motorcycles.
Okay. Thank you very much, Carlo Panizal of Mutt Motorcycles. And thank you to Mr. Romel Sitin and Kenneth Sitin for showing me those motorcycles in Clark. Okay, let's close the program, close the weekend for this first week of January. And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. Thank you to the Agenda staff, and thank you for all those who have supported us for the first week. Thank you, Lord. God bless all of you. Have a great weekend.